Welcome to week 3 of the Migration Summit. I'm really happy to have you here today. My name is Lorraine Charles, and I'm the Executive Director of NAML and one of the co-leads of the Migration Summit. The Migration Summit 2023, organized by MIT React, NAML, Quran Foundation, is a month-long global convening designed to build bridges between diverse communities of displaced learners, universities, companies, social enterprises, policymakers, employers, and governments around key challenges and opportunities for refugee and migrant communities. This year, we're exploring the theme of co-creating pathways to learning, livelihoods, and dignity. And today, we have 2 of these themes covered together, learning and livelihood. Well, learning and connected education. I'm really happy to introduce Pro Futuro and UNHCR. So Rumbi, over to you, and welcome everyone.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Lorraine. Let me start to share my screen. Thank you all for giving us the chance to present on what we're doing here in Zimbabwe for the Pro Futuro project. So the title of our session is Bridging the Digital Divide for Refugees through Connected Education. Alexis, you can go on to the next slide. With me today, we have Sharon Munzara, who is one of the coaches for the Pro Futuro project here in Zimbabwe. She is
Rumbi, I think we're losing you due to the internet connection.
Okay. So should I start? Okay, I will start the introductions again. With me here, we've got Sharon Munzara. She works for TDH, TED is Home, one of the implementing partners for UNHCR. She is an ICT expert, so she helps with the teachers and how to use the connected education equipment. We've also got Alec Mulambo, who's the headmaster for Tungogara Primary School, and he's been the headmaster for over 10 years now. Myself, I am project manager and the Pro Futuro focal point for UNHCR. Next slide, please, Alexis. So today we're going to talk about the partnership setup. That is what is Pro Futuro and how it works in refugee hosting settings. We're also going to talk about the engagements that we did while preparing to receive the project and to start the project implementation. We're going to share some testimonials from students and teachers on what they have done and their views about the project so far. We're also going to share some learning points and best practices that we have identified during the implementation period. And then at the end of the session, we'll open up for a question and answer session with the participants. So just to give a little bit of contextual background, the refugee camp is located in the eastern part of the country, in Manicaland province, Chipinge district, and it's called Tungogara refugee camp. To date, as of March 21st, the camp has a total of 23,078 refugees and asylum seekers, of which 74% come from Democratic Republic of Congo, and the remaining of the refugees and asylum seekers are from Rwanda, Burundi, and other nationalities. Next slide, please, Alexis. Alexis, we can go on to the next slide. Hello, Alexis. Okay, thank you. So the initial stages of setting up the project had a lot of meetings, introductory meetings with the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. So since this is an education project, the ministry has to be involved in all education projects that are implemented by private sectors and the schools to ensure that they are in line with the national curriculum. So inception meetings were held at each of the 4 schools. And these also had helped to sensitize the headmasters and the school development committees on the projects that is incoming into the schools. Next slide, please, Alexis. So the partnership involves units and Profuturo as the donor. Of course, with support from the Zimbabwe Ministry of Education, as they also have to ensure that all the projects are in line with the national curriculum, and they also provide technical. TDH is the implementing partner for the education project, and they are the ones who are responsible for conducting the day-to-day activities in the schools. Within the partnership, yeah, I think that's it for this slide. So as part of the inception of the project, we held the project launch last year in December, and being shown here is the picture that taken during the project launch. These are the 2 coaches, and they were showcasing the equipment that comes in each suitcase. During the project launch, it was also taken to development committees about the new incoming project. The equipment in the suitcases contains a laptop, which acts as the server or the teacher interface. It also contains a projector screen, and unintended by the provincial education director is their support in the activities. Which he mentioned that as we're now moving into a digital world, it is crucially important for teachers, especially those who are in rural areas, to also embrace technology as it is part of moving on with the digital world, and to also help to enhance the children and also their own ICT skills. Next slide, Alexis. So this picture shows the equipment that we received, the connected education equipment. We received a total of 12 suitcases. 6 were distributed to Tongogara Primary School, which is the school in the refugee camp, because it has a much more higher enrollment compared to the other schools in the host communities. The 3 schools in the host communities each received 2 suitcases of the connected education equipment. And this project, it's almost like a school in a box, because everything that the teachers and the students needs come in the boxes. The platform has resources that can be used by teachers as they conduct lessons in classes. And these are very interactive. The next slide, please. So this is a picture that shows the students using the tablets in school. Each student has to create a user account as well as a password for them to be able to access the content that would have been assigned to them by their respective learner and by their respective teachers, and the teachers can actually see on the server what student has answered what questions, and also see how many questions a particular student has answered correctly. Next slide, please. So for the reception part of the project, I will leave this part of the session to Mr. Mlambo to talk about how they experience receiving the project on their end. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for giving me the chance. Lambo Alec is my name, the head Tonga Primary, one of the schools that received the equipment. And I am with Tonga school situated, say 85 kilometers from the nearest town. And we are in Tonga refugee camp area. May you move on to the next slide. Thank you. Now, if I am to refer you to the table shown on the clip, we are having enrollment figures calculated over there. And we are having learners from outside Zimbabwe and those who are best. So if we are to look at boys or learners from outside, we got 1078. And then girls we got 1058 to give us a total of 2,135. And the locals we got 84. And then 73 girls, 84 boys, 73 girls, to give us a total of 157. Putting that together, for boys, we've got 1,162, then 1,130 for girls, giving us a grand total of 2,292. And for teachers, including the unaided staff, we are having 24 and 25, 24 male teachers, and 25 female teachers to give us a total of 49. I think we can move to the next slide. We received items which came as part of the equipment to be used. So for Tongara Primary School, we were allocated 6 boxes of computer equipment. For the other benefiting local schools, we had 2 boxes each. We also received textbooks, once again, courtesy of the program, a selected learning area, and this included the other benefiting schools. They were not left out. We received 150 tree seedlings for various species, and we managed to put those tree seedlings on the ground. We also got solar system backup power component, which was installed at the school and the other benefiting schools. We were again blessed with Wi-Fi, which also got installed in the schools, the receiving schools. This led us to have a lot of meetings that were held to conscientize the teachers, the pupils, the community, and other meetings done involving the MOPS district officers, just to officiate the program. Now, trainings were done by professional coaches involving all the schools that benefited. May we proceed to the next slide? The next slide.
Maybe you can play that video.
Talent Ganyao. I am Elena in grade 7A. It has been a long time since we started using them because let's say every week, we have those tablets, we start learning, and those tablets educate us. And the first subject we learned was agriculture, so it was interesting and fun. Agriculture, maths, English, science, and visual and performing arts. Also learn those subjects. Agriculture. Me, I like agriculture the most. I like the conservation of water and the types of water. There is liquid, gas, and solid. So that's why I like the conservation and the types of water.
I like ICT because I can use a tablet and playing games, searching for my questions.
It was the same. Because sometimes the teacher would struggle to write the board. So now it is easy because the teacher will have his or her tablets and send the subject on our tablets, and we use the tablets for learning.
All right.
So it's easy for the teacher and for us. Like, because we set, sometimes we set our continuous assessment learning activities on the tablets using the internet. Yeah, so it's easy for us. We won't struggle to search for a person who knows the answer to the question, like walk around the community searching for the answer, but we just use it very quickly using the internet.
My name is Gazelle. I am 11 years old.
My name is Kupapasha Maguna. I'm 11 years old.
Because I like to learn with it. To learn all subjects. Like maths, English, science, all subjects. They ask questions in the tablet and us will answer on it.
I like to learn with the tablet because I like to learn it because we can work online with it. And my favorite subject is English. English because it can make me talk English better.
Thank you for sharing the videos, Alexis. We're just listening to some of the testimonials from students on their views on using the Profuturo platform. Now I'll give over the session to teachers on using the Profuturo platform. On slide 18, Alexis.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to be sharing from Virida Patson, a grade 6 teacher from Tongogara Primary School. He says, we welcome the program. Children are learning a lot about computer devices. When you give them the gadget, they become very happy and they would like to have them every day. Before, most of the children could not operate these gadgets, only a few, but with them, most of them can log in and out on their own. I think this is going to help them in the future a lot because nowadays, everyday life, people operate with technological gadgets. This is the world we're living now. They need computer literacy. You can move on to the next slide. This is from Titi Mboda. She's a teacher at Sabi Valley Primary School. I've been teaching in the school for 2 years and I volunteered to participate in the project. I'm teaching 7-year-old students. The Profuturo gadgets motivate our students to learn. They become more interested in learning. We use the tablets for every subject. They are happy and they watch videos in the tablets. It's easy to teach them because they're motivated. They're learning through playing. Polite Sigalki, grade 7 teacher, Tongogara Primary School. Using Profuturo is a very interesting thing. We're grateful for the program because we're developing our learners mentally, socially, and even for the future. It was not difficult to learn how to use the materials because our coaches did a good job at training on the usage of the gadgets. We're well equipped with the knowledge, so when we came here, we just applied what we learned at the workshops. Children are very happy, appreciating the use of tablets. They even ask for using them when it's not the time. They use the tablets 1 hour per day. Let's stop there. I think we can move on to the next one. Simba Mnyoko, grade 6 teacher at Sabi Valley Primary School. The materials are very easy to use. I volunteered to participate in this. We've already started teaching children with the materials. The learners are very interested in using these gadgets. They are actively engaged during the deliberation of the lessons using the gadgets. There is great joy in the learners. Despite the temperatures in this area, they are engaged in the lessons. There's a lot of information uploaded in the tablets. There are a lot of subjects which make it easier for the learners.
My name is Atipai Shemara.
Okay. I'm also going to be talking about the learning points, the best practices in connected education for refugee hosting primary schools. Let's see if we can move on to the next slide. So our best practices are going to be coming from the work that we're doing together with the 4 schools. in conjunction with the different partners, with TDH, UNHCR, our Profruto team, and the Ministry of Education. We're aiming high and hoping for great success, and we've seen the results. Can we move on to the next one? So some of our best practices include learners configure tablets. The learners manage to configure the tablets with the help of teachers and coaches, which allowed them to know how to navigate the tablet's environment, which made it easy for them to use the Profutro application. They are also actively involved in tablet distribution and setting up the server, router, and UPS. This has helped them have a better understanding of how the solution works. The second best practice that we have is the coaches conducted a hands-on first impact training, which was followed by refresher trainings. The teachers have also taken time to practice how to use the solution in small groups with the support of the coaches who carried out demonstration lessons and supported the teachers in their first lessons using the platform, which has helped them gain confidence and be more willing to use the system. Our third and fourth best practices, Mr. Lambo is going to take us through.
Thank you very much, Sharon, for giving me the platform to go ahead. Now, we have got the clear support from the Ministry of Education through the whole hierarchy, starting from DSI, PET, and the FEMSEC. As the policy, which is in Zimbabwe, currently being used to enhance minimizing of digital divide. At school level, point number 4, we also have to have some focal teachers whom we chose for ease management of the equipment. And for spearheading the program, we have activities required about it. The focal teachers also have their own meetings to draft the way forward, especially in terms of program designing for each school to undertake, including timetabling of lessons of Profruto. It's an important area, that one, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Mlambo. We can move on to the next slide, please. So some of the lessons learned were the coaches introduced co-curricular activities using the tablets. We had some learners in the lower grades, grade 1 and 2, who were struggling with maybe typing. So we ended up introducing the use of the tablets for other activities that are besides using the solution. So we've really seen an improvement in the way they type or then later use the solution when it's time for them to do so. So that's the main lesson there was in the coaches are going to be coming across challenges where they have to come up with solutions that suit the environment in which they're working in. And one of those solutions was to make sure that the learners get more practice with the tablets before they use them for their Profutro sessions. Another lesson learned was we conducted a baseline survey. The baseline survey was used by the coaches to inform them about the need for continuous basic ICT trainings to complement the use of the solution, because we learned that from the survey that we conducted that most of our teachers are going to be needing basic ICT trainings to complement the use of the solution. And the last lesson, Mr. Mlambo is going to take us through.
Yes, thank you very much. The role also of focal points in schools. is to actually make sure that we have this management of the program. And we also want to take account of whatever material is provided in the school. Hence, we need to have some kind of a committee which looks down at the security, the program itself, which must be done on a daily basis, and the designing. And they work hand in glove with that thing, I think.
This marks the end of our presentation for today. We would like to open up the floor to any questions from the participants. Are there any questions from the floor? Anyone who is listening to the session, we're happy to receive any questions.
Perfect, Rumbi. Thank you so much. So yeah, welcoming everyone to just write the questions here on the chat, or also feel free to unmute yourselves. So we have a question from Caitlin. Can you tell us about how you align the profiteroles content with the national curriculum?
Thank you for that question. I think we're working with the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. There's a particular department within that ministry that is responsible for anything that is to do with digital education. And they also develop some resources that are aligned to the national curriculum. So they're the ones who provide us with resources that are aligned to the national curriculum for our teachers to use in schools. Over. Any other questions from the participants?
So we have a question here. Could you tell a bit more about how the focal points work within the schools?
Okay, I will refer this question over to the Tongogara head, Mr. Mlambo.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I think I've earlier on mentioned that we have some focal points like the charging of equipment. We should make sure that the equipment is recharged on a daily basis. And we also report any faults or some faults that may arise, since the equipment is used by different heads or is used by learners who may bring about some challenges at times because they are still learning. Otherwise, that's the issues I can raise now.
And then just to add on to what Mr. Mlambo said, the focal points are also responsible for the logging in and logging out of the suitcases at the school. So each time a teacher wants to use the equipment during their class, they have to go to a focal point to ensure that the taking out of the suitcase is logged in, and they also verify that all the equipment is in the suitcase, as well as for when they return it back to the safe hold to make sure that everything is within the suitcase. So this also ensures the safety and the security of the equipment and sort of acts like a checking system. The focal points are also responsible for helping other teachers who may be facing challenges on using the equipment in the schools. So they can also provide some technical backstopping, providing any support that they can address. If it gets too technical, then they can just always refer the issue back to the teachers. Back to the coaches.
Thank you, Rumbi and Emmanuel.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think it definitely has. So we have another question here from Thomas. What is the cost per site, and what are plans to expand this educational program?
I see Thomas also posted another question. What is the cost per site, and what are the plans to expand this education program? In terms of cost per site, we are not very privy to that one, but the plans to expand the education program also depend on the achievements which we would have realized on the ground at the end of the year. We started this program last year in 2022, and for this year we haven't done any expansion. We're just working on the 4 schools that we started with to ensure that they up to date and up to speed with using the equipment before we start the expansion to other schools again. But I'm sure if we achieve good results, then Profuturo would be happy to support with another expansion. So Camila, is it okay if I just go through all the questions in the chat and just answer them one by one?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
I see there's another question in the chat. Hello, thank you so much for the presentation. It's a really interesting project. In my work, we try creating more multilingual classrooms using EdTech. How do you approach multilingual backgrounds? Are the programs on the tablets available in different languages? So yes, the Profuturo platform has resources that come in French, English, Spanish, Arabic, and other languages. But however, for Zimbabwe, since we're English taught within the nation, we only work with resources that are in the English language. I see another question. Did you measure changes in students' or teachers' knowledge, skills, or attitudes from pre to post implementation? We did an ICT survey before the start of the training program for Profuturo, and this was just to sort of measure the level of teachers' ICT skills, as well as how frequently they use ICT gadgets in their day-to-day activities. So we're also planning on doing a post or another ICT skills survey to sort of see the difference with the baseline and after 1 year of implementation, to see the difference in the teacher ICT skills after the implementation of the project. And then to you, Tinduka Alpha, thank you for the presentation and great initiative to digitalize education, which is the same program UFAT is doing in Uganda among the refugees. Question 1, how is the program ensuring the protection of data and privacy of the students who are using the tablets? And then question 2, how are the teachers being trained to effectively use the tablets to enhance their teaching methodologies? So I'll start with question 2. As the project staff, we receive training from Profuturo on a regular basis. And when we receive these trainings from Profuturo, there will be like a training of trainers who will then cascade down the trainings to the teachers as well. So far we've had trainings on how to use the platform, we've had trainings on educational innovation. So these are also being cascaded to the teachers, and we also provide them with day-to-day support in the schools when they're using the equipment, and this makes them better able to use the tablets and enhance their teaching methodologies. And then in ensuring the protection of data, specifically to do with the protection of data for the refugee teachers that we deal with, we send anonymized registers to Profuturo. This has actually been an issue because UNHCR wants to safeguard the data of refugees. So whenever we send data, we send anonymized data to Profuturo. For example, when we do the teacher trainings, instead of teachers signing on the registers with their real names, they will just sign on the registers using pseudo names. If a teacher is from Tongogara Primary, they will say Teacher Tongo 1, and another teacher will write Teacher Tongo 2 and just sign anonymously. So this is one of the measures that we're taking to ensure data protection. I see these are all of the questions that have been posted on the chat so far. If there's any question that I have missed out, kindly feel free to flag it and I'll respond.
Can I add, Rumbi, can I just add a very quick word? This is Alexis speaking. I work. Alexis. Thanks, Rumbi. Hi, everyone. I work closely with Rumbi on the UNHCR Profuturo partnership, and I just wanted to add to Thomas's question about expansion of the project, that the Profuturo solution is already active in over 40 countries, in hundreds of schools. So it is much broader than the implementation that is presented here. As part of the partnership with UNHCR, the Profuturo solution is implemented in 3 countries, in Rwanda, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe, and it started in 2021 in Rwanda. So and that's working specifically with refugee hosting communities.
Perfect, Alexis. Thank you so much for that clarification. And so, I mean, we still have a few minutes, so I'm happy to welcome any other questions. But in between, I just wanted to thank so much, Rumbi, Emmanuel, Alexis, Sharon, and the rest of the Profuturo and UNHCR team. I think it was great to know the project, but not only how you implement it, but also how you're measuring your impact. And from what I've seen in this Migration Summit, there's a lot of organizations working with young populations, and in this age is when they are absorbing and learning the most. And so I really look forward to continuing to see results and the growth of this kind of programs. And so I've just pasted on the chat, the link to the agenda and to the YouTube playlist where we'll be uploading this recording. But yeah, welcoming everyone to join us for other sessions. And thank you so much for the session hosts.
Thanks a lot for hosting.
You're very welcome. Okay, so Have a great rest of the day, and I hope to connect soon with all of you. Bye-bye.